Part 95. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 942. Heaven descends to the continent and worships the world mountain. In the big formation. These supreme beings are truly invincible. We have also received a great opportunity. I am extremely happy that my eldest grandson is immortal. In the entire true ancestor realm, there are not many people left who can still firmly follow the path of the 9 laws. They were called the 3 rebellions of the 9 tribes and were hunted down by the world. Until today, I finally managed to keep the clouds clearing and see the moonlight. It also reassures them that their path is correct. But at this time, Xuanhuan's eyes were looking at Lu Rang and them with some anxiety. Why do the reincarnations of Qizun and Qingzun look so familiar? It seems like I have seen it before. Wrong. He suddenly remembered that Qizun and the others seemed to be traveling with that damn big black dog, right? He was entangled by the origin of the grey mist, and almost something strange happened, and he was lucky enough to live in the world of the sun. He once met Nanfan, Zhongli, and others in the ancestral land of the 6-eared macaque clan. At that time, Qizun and the others were with the big black dog. At that time, he was haunted by the origin of the grey mist, so his memory was a little confused. Now that he thought about it carefully, he finally remembered it. Thinking of this, he felt an inexplicable coldness in his crotch, his legs tightened, and he looked around hurriedly. Qizun and the others have appeared, but where is that big, cheating black dog? You're not hiding in the dark, are you? Are you preparing to sneak attack on yourself? There was some fear in his eyes, and the more he thought about it, the more frightened he became. What's wrong? Is there any danger? Chang Sun Buletinmi spoke doubtfully. There was already a layer of cold sweat on Xuanhuan's face, and he said solemnly. That dog is with Qizun and the others. Qizun and the others are here, and that dog may be ambushing around. Upon hearing this, Chang Sun Buletinmi almost jumped up. He immediately clenched his spear and glanced left and right, extremely vigilant. Next to them, Yang Tian and others were stunned. What's going on? Is there any big crisis hidden here? Xuanhuan was very panicked and said. Bitch, where are you hiding? Don't even think about sneaking up on me or biting my balls. If you dare to come, I'll blow your head off. He was cursing angrily, but his expression was fierce, and there was a clear tremor in his words. This is really bitten out of the shadows. Big black dog, come out if you have the guts. I'm warning you, we are not easy to bully. If you dare to mess around again, I will fight you to the death. The grandson is immortal, and he is also looking around, warning and threatening in the air. His buttocks were so tight. He was bitten twice at once. Now, he has finally grown back and developed into a rudimentary form. If he is bitten off again, then he is going crazy. Yu Linglong and others beside them were even more shocked at this moment. What kind of dog could actually make 2 would-be travelers so wary? So it's the old man without eggs. Zhongli and the others finally recognized Xuanhuan and couldn't help but shake their heads and said, Old man Xuanhuan, this is because he was bitten out of his shadow. Lu Rang couldn't help but said. This damn dog has done so many evil things outside. 2 good old people have been made so nervous by it. Qing Chen shook his head and said. My master is compassionate. I suddenly understood why master didn't let Dehei and junior brother Dade come this time. If they really met Dehei, these 2 old people would go crazy. Zhongli looked at the nervous 2 people and said with relief. You 2, don't be too nervous, Dehei didn't come this time. Don't worry. He felt quite sympathetic towards the 2 old men. Hearing this, Xuanhuan breathed a sigh of relief subconsciously and said doubtfully. Really not coming. Chang Sun Bumi also let go of the spear in his hands were sweating, and said. Fortunately I didn't come, it's safe. But, he just finished speaking. Ah! Suddenly, he let out a shrill scream. His crotch seemed to have been struck by lightning and exploded. What's wrong? Xuanhuan also jumped up in shock and hurriedly retreated. However, before he could fully react, he suddenly felt as if someone had smashed the space between his legs with a sledgehammer. No. The pain was so severe that Xuanhuan jumped up, covering his legs, and his whole body was trembling. At this moment, an afterimage appeared in front of them. It was a turtle. It stood upright, patted its two turtle claws, and said, "Dahe is so careless that he actually bites it with his mouth, and blows it up with one punch? It's such a simple thing. It is very proud of itself." It was it just now that, while the two of them were not paying attention, it killed Xuanhuan and Changsun Wuming. It was a blast. You damn turtle, you actually exploded the eggs. I finally grew back, ah. Changsun Bumi was filled with grief and anger. He pointed his spear at the little turtle and said, "I'll fight you." Xuanhuan also gritted his teeth and his eyes turned red, saying, "I thought that the big black dog was the worst of all, but I didn't expect that you, a damn turtle, are just like a humming dog. I'm going to kill you." Both of them couldn't help it, their eyes were red, and they were approaching the little turtle. The little turtle quickly climbed back onto Zhang Li's shoulder. When Xuanhuan and the two saw this, they were even more filled with grief and anger. Just now, Qizun actually asked them to relax. This is definitely intentional. Zhang Li was speechless at this moment. He really sympathized with these two old men, but now, being messed with by this little turtle, he couldn't explain it. He could only bite the bullet and said, "I didn't lie to you, Dahe really didn't come." Xuanhuan was so angry that his nose was crooked, and he said angrily, "The dog didn't come, but a turtle with such damage came. Is this any different from a dog?" Changsun Bumi's eyes turned red and he said, "My eldest grandson will never die, and I will never die with dogs and turtles. He really hates it. It took so long and it took so long to grow, but it's not fully grown yet, it's still developing. It was blown away. It's too awful." The little turtle shook his head and said, "You are really stupid. Master Turtle, I beat you to death for your own good. You have been infected by the source of the grey mist. If you don't remove the source of the grey mist, big problems will still occur when you practice the 9 perfect methods." As he spoke, it pointed with its tortoise paws and said, "If you don't believe me, feel it for yourselves. Is it true that the agitation at the origin of the grey fog has basically been purified now?" Hearing this, Xuanhuan and Changsun Bumi were both startled. Because what the little turtle said, is indeed true. In fact, they have all experienced it. For example, Xuanhuan almost lost control many times in the world, but after being bitten by Dahe, he could return to normal. "I don't believe it, it's all nonsense, it's just an excuse, an excuse. The eldest grandson is immortal but his anger is not extinguished." Xuanhuan also gritted his teeth and said, "Damn it, so I've lost all my balls, so I still have to thank you and that cheating dog." The little turtle said, "You're welcome, saving the lost juniors is what a great sage like me should do." Xuanhuan wanted to vomit blood even more. This damn turtle was kicking his nose and face, and he was even pretending. How abominable. "I won't give up until I kill you." Xuanhuan also gritted his teeth and became angry. Two old men, there's no need for that. At this time, Zhang Li couldn't help but speak, saying, "Although Dahe and Little Turtle's methods are a little cruel, they are all for your own good." Changsun Bumi couldn't help it anymore and said, "Lord Qizun, do you call this a little cruel? The eggs were all broken, is this called slightly cruel? So what does true brutality look like? But, right now." Boom. Suddenly, the entire chess field changed drastically. It was as if there was some terrifying hand in the dark, sweeping over everything. The chess lines were chaotic and the avenues were frightening. No. All the creatures trapped in Tongde Bureau were wailing sadly at this moment. I don't want to die. The Tiangang overlord screamed in agony, but was directly killed by the chaotic Dao rules. Spare my life. 3 losers, Luo Gui, were instantly destroyed. What kind of person is taking action? Are we just like ants? Heiju was desperate. He clearly felt that there was a shocking being taking action. Even if they were overlords, they would not be able to resist. Heiju died immediately, revealing his true form and turning into a big black snake. On the other side, Ji Wuming, Ning Yuanzhu and others exploded into blood mist. Qi Fenglin waited, and they all died without even uttering a cry. Just a moment. Top 10 overlords. A dozen door openers. As well as Qi Fenglin and other visitors from the Grey Mist Sea, Ji Chishi and other geniuses from the 9 ancient immortal clans. Total destruction. Seeing this scene, Ji Wuden and Chang Sunbumi were stunned. They subconsciously looked at Zhang Li. Master Qizun, I have no objection. Master Little Turtle fought well, it was just a little cruel, but it's okay, I didn't take it to heart at all. The eldest grandson is immortal and speaks hurriedly. Ji Wuden was also panicked and said. Master Little Turtle is not cruel at all, he is very gentle. I like it, I really like it. They were both utterly terrified. In their opinion, this is Master Qi taking action. Just now, Mr. Qizun said that the little turtle was only slightly cruel, but they dared to question it. As a result, Mr. Qizun took action directly and demonstrated to them what true cruelty is. Now, they were completely shocked. If they don't agree with each other, kill them all. Even overlord-level creatures die. They're just missing eggs, it doesn't seem like it's unacceptable. Zhang Li was stunned for a moment and thought. If I said it has nothing to do with me, would you believe me? Chang Sunbumi and Ji Wuden both shook their heads crazily. Zhang Li. In the small courtyard. Xiao Bai, you are naughty again, why did you mess up the chessboard? Li Fan came out of the kitchen carrying the dishes and happened to see Xiao Bai, who was bored and playing with the chess pieces on the chessboard with her little paws. Make a mess. When Xiao Bai heard this, he immediately jumped to his side, nuzzled him clingingly, and meowed. Li Fan smiled and said. Little greedy cat, okay, I don't blame you, get ready to eat. Xiao Bai was very excited and screamed even more happily. Just 2 updates, I can still do this. Fell asleep. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 943. True Ancestor Realm. A black and white avenue crosses the border. Everyone in the world raised their heads and looked at the sky in awe. In the sky, the chess master passed by with his hands behind his back, looking at the mountains and rivers of the past. His expression was indifferent. It is indeed Qizun, he was also born. What's going on? The changes that have taken place in the true ancestor realm are making people more and more frightened. The world is whispering. Do you think Qizun will give Ning Tianji another beating? At the same time, someone spoke in a low voice, nervously. As soon as the statement came out, many people had complicated expressions. The main reason is that when Brahmazun and Qingzun passed by before, the two of them beat the ultimate Ning Tianji so hard. At that time, the entire sacrifice divine state heard Ning Tianji's begging and wailing for mercy. Ning Tianji has the image of being aloof and invincible in the minds of the world. He was beaten alive. However, Ning Tianji was not beaten to death. Qizun is heading towards the world sacrifice temple. At this time, someone exclaimed. In an instant, the world paid attention. The ancestor of the Ning family is so miserable. No way. Many people spoke directly, already predicting what was going to happen. The Bridge of Terror Avenue formed by the lines of Othello extends directly over the sacrificial divine state. Many cultivators in Shishi Shenzhou looked complicated and collapsed when they saw this. Stop repairing it, you idiot. It doesn't matter if we don't build this dojo. I've been repairing it 3 or 4 times this month. I'm exhausted. 10 masters and 2 evils, including the chess master, there are only 9 people who have emerged, and there are still 3 left. Wait until they are finished and then repair. Don't waste manpower and material resources. No more cultivation, no more cultivation. A group of cultivators simply gave up on repairs. Every time it was repaired, it was destroyed again. Already a Buddha. But this time, Xuanhuan walked over the world sacrifice divine state, and the world sacrifice temple was extremely quiet. Silent, not a word. The chess master stood with his hands behind his back, looked at the temple of sacrifice in front of him, and said, "Don't you have anything to say?" He seemed very lonely. Hearing this, the world sacrifice temple remained silent. At this moment, in the main hall, Ning Tianji was wearing bandages, his mouth was tightly closed, and he didn't say a word. "Brother Ning." Wu Qiandao spoke subconsciously. "Don't humming call me." Ning Tianji scolded angrily and said, "When 10 deities pass by, I will say one more word, I am a dog." As he spoke, he still felt pain all over his body. He was beaten badly by Qingzun and Brahmazun. Although he did not die, he was injured all over his body. Other people. Outside, Qizun couldn't help but smile and said, "Okay, since I don't dare to come out, I'll leave first. Goodbye." After saying that, he left the sacrifice temple and headed directly towards Tianyuan. Seeing him leave, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. In the temple of sacrifice. Really just leaving like that? Everyone was surprised. Qizun's style is completely different from other people's. Really gone? Ning Tianji was also very surprised. At this moment, seeing that Qizun had left, he couldn't help but stand up directly, walked out of the ancient bronze palace, and laughed loudly. 10 saints and 2 villains. No matter how powerful they are, so what? They are all just dead in the end. Ning is a great man, capable of bending and stretching. He will not care about you. Victory will belong to me after all. He looked in the direction of Tianyuan and thought that Brahma, Qingzun, and Qizun would eventually fill Tianyuan, and he couldn't help but feel a breath of bad breath. But, the words just fell. In the space around him, a black and white chess line suddenly appeared. Swish, brush, brush. The chess line fell directly. No. Ning Tianji's expression changed drastically. He tried his best to stop him, but he was no match for this chess line. All the Taoist robes on his body were chopped into ashes. He was naked and appeared in the sky above the entire sacrificial state. There are even bloodlines on the body, and the pain is heartbreaking. No. Ning Tianji let out a scream and hurriedly ran back to the temple of sacrifice. Chess master set a humming trap to harm me. Ah, my reputation, the ultimate master, is actually like this, ah. In the huge bronze palace, Ning Tian's extremely miserable wails came from. The other ultimates also looked shocked at this moment. As expected of a chess player. It's too cloudy. Although I left, I went to stay and wait for Liaoning. Zhang Shan couldn't help but feel a little frightened. Fortunately, it wasn't me who went out. Although I didn't kill Liaoning, I cut off all his clothes and exposed him naked in front of the world. Is this the way to let Liaoning die? Wu Jiandao shook his head, feeling that this chess master was really too cruel. This is more heart-wrenching than beating Liaoning violently. From then on, Ning Tianji directly became a laughing stock. What we should be concerned about now is the Tianjiang continent. Ji Wulu spoke in a deep voice and said. Has the sea of grey mist destroyed Wan Dao Dingman's backhand? Everyone also looked solemn. This is the key. Tianyuan. Qingzun and Brahma Zun arrived at the same time. Meet Brahma and King Zun. On the Great Wall, the guard general Qi Tiangang, together with the Chen clan's 18 swordsmen and other powerful men, knelt down one by one and saluted. Venerable Brahma and Venerable Qing were quite pleased to see them. There are still some loyal people in this world after all. Brahma couldn't help but speak. Qingzun nodded and said, unfortunately, there are too few. The two of them had many insights as they looked at the Great Wall of Bones. Wait a minute, Lord Qi. Qingzun spoke. Immediately, the two landed on the Great Wall. Bring me the wine. Qingzun spoke. Immediately, Qi Tiangang and others were very respectful and presented the best spirits in the Great Wall. You are dead, can you still feel the smell of alcohol? Brahma Zun smiled and sat across from Qingzun. Qingzun smiled and said, if you can't feel the taste, you can't drink. He picked up the flask and took a swig. After a long time, a bridge where the Othello lines converged, descending directly. Master Chess is here too. You're finally here. King Zun stood up and said with a smile. We died together back then, but now I'm leaving you behind alone. I'm afraid you'll be lonely, so I'm waiting for you. Qi Zun smiled and said. Good. Brahma handed the wine bottle to Qi Zun and said. Taste it. Brahma drank it all in one gulp and said. Good wine. Brahma smiled and said. Let's go, it's our turn. Chess Master said. Wait a minute, are you leaving now? After drinking someone else's wine, you should pay for it anyway. Qi Tiangang, who was standing next to him, said with tears in his eyes. It is truly an honor for us to be able to offer wine to these world-honored ones. How dare we talk about the price of wine? Qi Zun shook his head and said. No, if I say I want to give it, I must give it. After saying that, he waved his hand, and countless rune light spots disappeared into the minds of Qi Tiangang, Chen clan's 18 swords, and others. Suddenly, Qi Tiangang and others looked shocked. This is, the 9 methods? No, it's more complete than the 9 methods. Everyone was shocked. The things given by Qi Zun are too precious. With these 9 complete methods, the strength of the Great Wall Guards can be raised to an unprecedented height. If you can stand in front of her Great Wall, you are naturally qualified to learn the complete 9 methods. Qi Zun opened his mouth and said. We are dead, and the world belongs to you. In this life, you have to rely on yourself. After speaking, he stood up and said. Let's go. Fanzun and Qingzun also laughed, and the three of them immediately crossed the Great Wall of Bones and reached Tianyuan. Monk, Master Chess, have you ever had any regrets in your life? Stopping in front of Tianyuan, Qingzun suddenly spoke. Brahma shook his head and said. No regrets. Qizun also said. Neither do I, do you? Qingzun sighed and said. It happened once, forget it, I'm dead, but she's still alive. It's good that I'm reincarnated to take care of her. Let's go into the abyss of heaven. He stepped into the abyss. Turn into spots of light all over the sky. Qizun and Brahmazun followed closely behind. The three supreme beings disappeared silently. In the abyss, the bridge connecting the two worlds was completely solidified at this moment. Already indestructible. Behind, above the Great Wall, Qi Tiangang looked at the three statues going away with tears streaming down his face. The 9 supreme beings have filled the abyss with their bones. Now, I'm afraid those who are on their way can all come over, right? Chen Xiaoming held his sword and spoke. Qi Tiangang said. I'm afraid there are more than just existences that are stronger than those on the road, and they should be able to cross the border safely. Hearing this, Chen Xiaoming felt a pressure inexplicably. The strongest people in the true ancestor realm today are only on the road. If a master who surpasses the top lane comes in the Grey Fog Sea, how to resist? Qi Tiangang, on the other hand, said with determination in his eyes. From today on, you will practice in seclusion and hit the road as quickly as possible. You must not let down the expectations of the world-honored one. He punched the city wall hard. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 944. Heaven descends to the continent and worships the world mountain. Lord Qizun, we really don't mind. It's just an egg. If it explodes, it will explode. Well done, Mr. Little Turtle. Chang Sunbumi and Ji Wuden were still explaining. They were really scared. Master Qizun is so terrifying. In one thought, all the 10 overlords of the Grey Mist Sea were wiped out, and not even a dozen of the people who opened the door were left behind. This is true cruelty. Junior brother Zhang Li is as unhuman as ever. Even Qing Chen and Lu Rang couldn't help but speak. The main thing is that they have become accustomed to it. Every time Zhang Li takes action in a fight, it will be a mass destruction. Therefore, the death of so many overlords and openers just now was exactly the same as Zhang Li's style. Zhang Li smiled bitterly. He couldn't explain it clearly. That's all. He shook his head and refused to explain. But fortunately, these overlord-level rare ingredients did not explode, otherwise it would be a shame. Qing Chen, on the other hand, looked at the corpses of the grey fog creatures in the field, his eyes shining. The black overlord is actually a big black snake, covered in snake meat, and looks very powerful. The Tiangang overlord is a giant ostrich. The Disha overlord is even more strange. The body is actually a big black frog, weighing dozens of kilograms. In addition, there are 3 old turtles from the Luagui tribe and 2 roe deer. Prey is plentiful. Put it away and take it back to the village. We can have dinner again. Lu Rang immediately stepped forward and tied up all the prey. When Chang Sunbumi and Ji Wuden saw this, they looked at each other even more. Pray. Have a banquet. Are you going to eat overlord-level creatures? Good, good, good. The old monk Shizu stepped forward, smiled at Qing Chen, and said. Old monk wants to see the end of 10,000 paths. Is it possible? Kazu looked at Lu Rang eagerly and said. Brother, take me back and plant me anywhere you want. Lu Rang is the real thigh. It can evolve in minutes. So, I'm excited. Even the chess ancestor was finally free at this moment. He opened his left eye, bowed deeply to Zhang Li, and said. I dare to ask Qizun, but the person at the end of the world is behind the scenes, and the chess game is projected here. When his left eye is open, he appears humble and polite. This overall situation frightened him so much. Not only him, but even the top 10 overlords could only become pawns in the chess game. This kind of handwriting definitely comes from a supreme person. It is very possible that he is the one at the end of 10,000 paths. Even Shizu, Caozu, was very concerned about this answer. After all, it was because of the one at the end of 10,000 paths that they came to the true ancestor realm from the Sea of Grey Mist to guard the evil corpse. Zhang Li smiled and said. Since you want to know, how about you come with us and go back to the village to have a look? These 3 are all the mental illnesses that Master is looking for. Definitely have to take it back. Hearing this, the 3 of them were excited. If you can follow me back, you will definitely have a great opportunity. Qizun, where are we? At this time, Ji Wuden and Chang Sunbumi were asking questions. There was also hope in their eyes. The reincarnation of the 10 gods, the one at the end of 10,000 paths, may still be alive. They already have faith and hope in their hearts. I really want to follow Shaizun. Zhongli thought for a while and said. Can you two do something for me? Chang Sunbumi and both of them said, Master Qi, just give me your orders. Zhongli said. Now in the true ancestor realm, the 9 perfect laws have appeared, but they have not yet spread throughout the world. I hope you two can travel around the world and teach the 9 Dharma. How about that? If you can make all living beings in the world master the 9 Dharma, it will be considered a great merit for both of you. Now Zhongli has understood that the overall situation laid out by Wandao endpoint is of great importance, and the true ancestor realm is very likely to be related to the Forbidden Land. And taking the world on the road is the prerequisite for everything. If you want to take the world by storm, you must let the 9 dharmas spread throughout the world and have enough ultimate masters of the 9 dharmas appear to sacrifice the world together. Therefore, it is necessary to teach the dharma now. At the same time, once the 9 laws are spread, forces such as the world's sacrifice temple, the 9 ancient immortals clan, will definitely go crazy. When the time comes, they are afraid that they will kill the cultivators who have obtained the 9 dharma at all costs. The 9 laws are in the true ancestor realm and still need protectors. The eldest grandson is immortal, Xuanhuan, is the best candidate. Hearing this, both of them were instantly excited. Yes. Don't worry, Master Qi. We will do our best to bring the 9 laws back to the world. They all felt an unprecedented sense of mission. Once, they were on the verge of going on the road, but they failed because of the lack of the real 9 dharma, almost died, and survived countless hardships. Therefore, they understand very well how important the 9 dharma is to cultivators in the true ancestor realm. In this way, the monopoly of the 9 ancient immortal clans and even the sacrifice temple on the 9 laws will be completely broken. Then thank you for your hard work. If you are in trouble, you may as well go to the Martial Wasteland, Dead Man's Wasteland, and Oath-Keeping Valley. There are many loyal people like you two there. Zhang leaves the exit. Chang Sunbumi and Xuanhuan both nodded excitedly. Qizun said this, which means that they have also been recognized by the 10. This is the best reward for them. By the way, Lord Qi, Lao Wu, Wu Jianghe, and others are also following you. Chang Sunbumi suddenly remembered. The 10 masters are in the Wuhuang realm, and Lao Wu made his fortune from the Wuhuang realm. Could it be that he hugged Shaizun's lap early? Wu Jianghe. Zhongli doesn't know this person very well. But beside me, Yu Linglong already said. Senior Wu Jianghe was indeed in the Wuhuang world before. She said something ambiguous. Chang Sunbumi and Xuanhuan immediately showed get-it expressions. Knew it? No wonder Lao Wu took off. Damn it, it turned out that there were 10 people leading him, he didn't say anything to us, that's too much. Chang Sunbumi spoke. Not kind. Xuanhuan said the same. Zhongli and others set out on their journey. They left the sacrificial mountain formation. Boom. As soon as I walked out of the sacrifice mountain, I saw 9 white rainbows behind me, suddenly turning into thousands of light spots and disappearing into the world. It was the complete 9 dharma, like sparks all over the sky, flying into the dark night. It will awaken countless people with lofty ideals. Master and Miss Yongzi made the 9 dharmas reappear in the world. Zhongli whispered. The corner of the curtain is finally slowly opening at this moment. He felt an unprecedented sense of excitement. Has Master finally come to Earth now? Let's go, and preach. Xuanhuan and Chang Sunbumi opened their mouths, opened the teleportation array, and left the place directly. Zhongli and others walked out and soon found Yu Lingxiu who was waiting. Sister, you are finally out. When Yu Lingxiu saw Yu Linglong and others, she was extremely excited and hurriedly stepped forward. Sister, are you not injured? She was very worried. What happened in the Sacrifice Mountain was earth-shattering, filled with murderous intent, and the ultimate palace continued to be real and terrifying. All living creatures within a radius of 10,000 miles, including the demon clans of the 3 major cities including Shenio City, as well as the people of the 9 major families, have evacuated. Only she insists on waiting here. Because she couldn't worry about her sister. Yu Linglong smiled slightly and said, "Sister is very good. Let's go, sister will take you to Wuhuang realm." The purpose of her coming here this time was to take her sister out of Genshi Pavilion. No. But Yu Lingxiu shook her head and said, "Sister, I can't leave now. The Source Deo project in the pavilion has been launched." Hearing this, Yu Linglong was shocked and said, "Source Deo plan. In the cabinet, are you ready to create the strongest original body?" She also knows very well about Genshi Pavilion's origin Deo plan. Genshi Pavilion also has a great background, no less powerful than the 9 ancient immortal clans. It is said that they are all related to the one at the end of 10,000 paths. Since the post-White Mist era, Genshi Pavilion has been secretly collecting the origin factors of all creatures in the true ancestor realm. Genshi Pavilion did this in order to screen out the strongest original factors and finally artificially create a supreme Tao body like the end of 10,000 ways. This plan, known as the Source Deo plan, has always been a top secret in Genshi Pavilion. If it really succeeds, this means that in the true ancestor realm, there may be a person whose qualifications are comparable to those of 10,000 paths terminus. But Yu Lingxiu shook her head and said, "No. I heard that Yuandeo's plan has changed. Because, the final analysis in the pavilion concluded that, the end of 10,000 paths is just a mortal body. With the most ordinary qualifications, she grew up to be at the end of 10,000 paths. Her life is simply impossible to repeat." Hearing this, Yu Linglong couldn't help being surprised. The end of 10,000 paths is actually just a mortal body? She had to be surprised. After all, he was the strongest person in the White Mist ancestral realm. His reputation was still great for all eternity, and even the Grey Mist Sea would be afraid of her. At the same time, she couldn't help but feel an unparalleled admiration in her heart. From a mortal body to such a height. Such a life can be called a legend. In this case, the Yuandeo plan has lost its meaning. Yu Linglong said. Yu Lingxiu nodded, gritted her teeth gently and said, "However, the pavilion has collected the origin factors of all the creatures in the true ancestor realm. They seem to want to send these origin factors to the Grey Mist Sea." Hearing this, the little turtle next to him couldn't help but speak, saying, "These bastards have gone too far." It said, "Once the origin factor is leaked, the creatures in this world will have no secrets left in front of the Grey Fog Sea." Zhongli and others also looked solemn. Today's situation in the true ancestor realm is even more severe than they imagined. Lu Rang couldn't help but said in confusion, "Why do all the powerful and prestigious forces want to become traitors?" Qing Chen said, "I think, we are too low-key. If the world were to know that the 10 deities were reincarnated and were still alive at the end of 10,000 paths, who would dare to have second thoughts?" "That's fine." Zhongli said. "In chaos, we can see people's hearts clearly and understand who is worthy of our protection." As he spoke, he looked at the little turtle and said, "Shall we go to Genshi Pavilion first?" The little turtle shook his head and said, "No, since they want to be traitors, I will prepare a big gift for them. Close your eyes, Lord Turtle, I'm going to cast an earth-shattering spell." Hearing this, Zhongli and the others were immediately shocked. They somehow thought of Big Black One, the great supernatural power that reaches heaven and earth. Sleep. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 945. Damn it, stay away. Lu Rang immediately spoke hurriedly. He had already had a premonition of what was going to happen. You've learned badly, hanging around with Dehei all day long, and the little turtle has learned badly too. Qing Chen also cursed and hurriedly blocked his 5 senses. Shiziu, Caoziu, and Chiziu also had solemn expressions. They were all strong men and understood that some great skills should not be easily seen, so they all obediently closed their eyes. Only sisters Yu Linglong and Yu Lingxiu are still a little confused. Senior Xuanhuan is going to cast an earth-shattering magic. Isn't this a good thing? I can see these seniors performing great arts. Zhang Li had a complicated look on his face and said. You too should also shield your 5 senses. Hearing this, Yu Linglong and the others immediately closed their eyes to block their 5 senses. When the little turtle saw this, he felt relieved. Then he took a look, grabbed the body of a negative chess logo turtle next to him, and refined its origin. Then it rises as puff puff, liquid splash, directly integrated with the origin. After a long time, the little turtle felt comfortable. Then, it turned back. But, immediately after, its turtle eyes suddenly showed a suspicious look, because, Qi ancestor's right eye actually opened. Look straight at it. My darn thing. The little turtle suddenly trembled. You're peeping at me, where's your face? What a fool, you even peeked at this. The little turtle was furious, rushed forward, and punched Chiziu in the right eye. Ah! Chiziu's right eye was directly bruised. He quickly closed his right eye and then opened his left eye. Immediately, his whole demeanor changed and he hurriedly said. I'm sorry, my right eye won't obey the command at a critical moment, it's none of my business, it's not what I want to peek at. The little turtle was extremely angry, clenched his turtle fist, and said. If you dare to tell me, I will kill you. Qi ancestor waved his hands hurriedly and said, I didn't see anything, I didn't see anything. The little turtle gave up in frustration. It adjusted its mood, and then sent a message to Zhang Li and others who had blocked their 5 senses. Master Turtle's earth-shattering spell has been cast. You can open your eyes now. Hearing this, Zhang Li and others opened their eyes. What the hell, why does it smell so bad? Lu Rang immediately retreated far away. Stinks worse than that big black one. Qing Chen couldn't bear it anymore. Even Zhang Li said. Zioba, what on earth are you going to do? However, the little turtle was extremely arrogant. He handed the source in the turtle's claws to Yu Lingxiu and said. Take it back and put it into the original factors collected by your Genshi Pavilion. Then, as long as your Genshi Pavilion becomes a traitor and really gives this thing to the Grey Mist Sea. There was a hint of cunning in its turtle eyes, and it said. That's fun. Yu Lingxiu covered her mouth and nose, and she looked at the little turtle in surprise. After thinking for a moment, she gritted her teeth and said. Lingxiu obeys your order. Immediately, she took over the origin, took out a jade box, and put it away. The stench finally subsided slightly. Sister, I'm going back first. Yu Lingxiu immediately prepared to leave. Yu Linglong also nodded and said. Be careful. Yu Lingxiu was about to leave, but the little turtle suddenly moved its claws, and a rune penetrated into Yu Lingxiu's body. Zioba, what are you doing? Zhang Li was confused. The little turtle said. This talisman can cut off her memory of just now, so that she will not be afraid of being searched for her soul. In addition, it can also give her a big opportunity. Don't worry, how could I harm these kind-hearted young people? Zhang Li nodded. On this point, he felt relieved about the little turtle. Let's go. Immediately, the little turtle activated the teleportation array, and they disappeared from the spot. When entering the teleportation array, Caoziu suddenly spoke to Chiziu and said. Lao Chi, Did you quietly open your right eye just now? Tell me what you saw quietly. Qi Xuanming suddenly became excited and said. I didn't see anything. The technique Xuanhuan performed was so earth-shattering that it was not impressive at all. After saying that, he glanced at the little turtle with some fear. When he saw that the little turtle looked as normal, he was relieved. After hearing this, Cao Zia pondered for a moment and said. It's so awesome. No, I definitely can't miss it next time. I have to take a look. The originally calm little turtle almost stumbled out when he heard this. Leaving the sacrifice mountain. What happened here is too big. I have to tell my ancestor first so that he can act more conveniently. Chang Sunbumi immediately took out a secret talisman and sent a message. He didn't say anything about the 10 deities, but just told them that all the 10 overlords of the Grey Mist Sea were dead, and the 9 dharmas would be spread throughout the world. At the same time, they also obtained the 9 dharmas. Soon, there was a response in the secret talisman. Chang Sunbumi was immediately surprised. What's wrong? Ji Wuden spoke in confusion. Chang Sunbumi said. My ancestor asked us to build a dojo for Ji Wulu. And, quickly. He was stunned and confused. Ji Wuden was also very confused. The ancestor of the Chang Sun family was so messed up. Build him a dojo, and I'll build him a cemetery. Ji Wuden was very unhappy. No, my ancestor must have deep meaning in doing this. Let's do it first and then talk about it. Immediately, the two left immediately. By the way, send a message to Lao Wu and let him retreat in peace. They spoke. At the same time, on the outskirts of Shishi Mountain, in a mountain forest, a middle-aged man was hiding here. There were no other creatures around, so he safely took out 3 real bones. This person is clearly Ao Wushuan. If you want me to die, there is no way. Ao Wushuan opened his mouth and said. Although I didn't see anyone this time, I can think with my toes that this sacrifice mountain is probably related to that weird little mountain village. He already had a premonition. The ones that can keep making all kinds of noise are probably those evil little mountain villages. Then, he took out all 3 bones from the jade box. Absorb it all. Suddenly, light poured into the black tower within his body. The second floor of the 9-story black tower had been deified by about a third last time. This time, after the 3 bones were absorbed, another part of the myth was lost. Only about a third of it was left, and it was still rusty. At the same time, Ao Wushuan's aura suddenly surged. It has grown directly to the 8th realm, the soul enlightenment realm. At this moment, he felt that the spiritual platform was glowing, and his consciousness entered the spiritual platform and saw 10 divine fires. Awakening the 3 souls and 7 souls, the Dao scenery can only be opened later. Ao Wushuan murmured, his consciousness approaching the divine fire. But the next moment Ao Wushuan became surprised, because he found that within his own divine fire, it's actually empty, with no soul at all. What the hell is this? Ao Wushuan suddenly panicked. Am I a soulless person? Do you still count yourself as a human being? Hell, hell. His consciousness withdrew from the coffin and opened his eyes. At this moment, he was dripping with cold sweat. Everyone knows that the realm of soul enlightenment is extremely important. 3 souls and 7 souls are the key to opening the Dao scenery in the future, and if you want to hit the road, you also need souls. Without a soul, who are you? Corpse. The more I think about it, the more I get scared. Damn it, don't care. Ao Wushuan gritted his teeth and said. I'm just a living person, I'm too lazy to think so much. Anyway, I have encountered enough evil things. He is always haunted by that evil little mountain village, and there is a strange black tower in his body. The key is that there seems to be some terrifying existence imprisoned in the black tower. Now, he doesn't even have a soul? Become a Buddha, become a true Buddha. God damn it, you can kill me if you can, Lao Ao, don't believe in fate. After saying that, he turned around and left, striding away. Not long after, he returned to the perimeter. Outside, Song Ji-yuan is waiting. Seeing Ao Wushuan return, his expression was a little complicated. Brother Ao is really not a normal person. Repeatedly, he has become accustomed to it. How about it? Has the Forbidden Lord's bone been deified? However, he couldn't help but ask. Ao Wushuan nodded, revealed the bones of the Forbidden Lord, and said, "Finished." Suddenly, Song Ji-yuan was overjoyed. The two people immediately left quickly and headed in the direction of Hui Si. When I arrived here, I saw that there was no one there again. Hui, Elder Hui Si. Song Ji-yuan already had an ominous premonition in his heart and called immediately. "I'm here." Sure enough, a blood crystal rolled out from the void, with a drop of blood in it. It was Wu Jianghe, he killed me, and I only have this drop of blood left. Hui Si spoke with difficulty. But Song Ji-yuan immediately waved his hand and said, "Elder Hui Si, you don't need to explain." After speaking, he gritted his teeth, looked at Ao Wushuan, and said, "Brother Ao, don't you give me some blessings." The main thing is that he has also thought clearly that this Hui Si is immortal. He and Ao Wushuan had to continue taking the papers. After all, there was only one vacant seat for the Supreme Elder. Ao Wushuan. He couldn't help but glance at Song Ji-yuan. This guy was quite good at it. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 946. True Ancestor Realm. The world is in shock. Because, just today, the secret law descends from heaven and spreads throughout the world. On an ordinary street, people were coming and going. Suddenly, light fell, and everyone was stunned. What's going on? Why do I have so many extra spells in my heart? God, these are the 9 spells in the 4 realms, the 9 spells in the 5 realms, the complete 9 spells. A young man was immediately shocked. He subconsciously looked around. The 9 Dharma, is it the 9 Dharma? I am blessed with a soul and a genius, and I actually awakened the 9 Dharma on my own initiative? Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. A middle-aged uncle danced with joy. Damn it, it turns out that there is something wrong with the 9 methods I have practiced before. No wonder I have become gray-haired after only living for 30 years, the 9 major families cheated me. An old man lost his crutch. People on the whole street are going crazy. In fact, even a mouse in the street corner was squeaking at the moment, and the eyes of the thief-browed rat burst out with joy. This scene is just a microcosm. The 900 continents of the true ancestor realm were all shrouded in billions of light points at this moment. City Lord, what's wrong? It's not just us, everyone in the city has received the 9 laws, the whole city has received it. In a city, there were guards hurriedly reporting to the city lord. Sect Master, our entire sect has obtained the 9 Dharma. This is God's blessing. I suggest that we live in seclusion completely until the entire sect is on the road, and then we can come out together and scare the world to death. An old man from a sect suggested excitedly. Damn it, if I don't accept the marriage, I'll take a wife from a piece of shit. After I finish practicing the 9 Dharma, I can have as many wives as I want. At a wedding, the groom jumped over the wall and ran away. The entire true ancestor realm was in a state of shock. 9 Dharmas pervade the world. Even the 9 ancient immortal clans are confused now. What's going on? Our entire clan has obtained the complete 9 Dharma. The head of the Duga clan is incredible. Master, it's not just our whole clan, but the entire continent, something big is going to happen. An elder spoke tremblingly and said. Our 9 major families have worked hard to gather the 9 laws, but now, our plan has gone bankrupt. G family. The complete 9 methods are actually spread throughout the world. Is this going to be shocking? The head of the family roared angrily and said, "Immediately send an order, all family troops, strong men, etc., are on standby and prepare to kill those who secretly learn the 9 Dharma. Also, contact the World Sacrifice Temple immediately." The 9 major families who had reacted were now completely panicked. If only a small number of people get the 9 methods, it won't be a problem at all. Their 9 immortal ancient clans can kill all threatening factors. But, now the whole world has gotten it. What to do? Is it possible to destroy the world? Soon, the news was also fed back to the Temple of Sacrifice. The Temple of Sacrifice roared. The atmosphere in the hall was as quiet as death. The faces of all the ultimates were filled with heavy expressions. They already know the information from the 9 major families. The 9 Dharma actually spread throughout the world. This made all their years of hard work go to waste. The 9 Dharma has spread throughout the world. Who is it that is behind it? What is his intention? Takuchi couldn't help but murmur. Isn't there someone on the other side of the grey mist sea who has come to break the situation? How could this be the case? Zhongshan is waiting for him, his face is full of disbelief. They cannot accept this ending. Changsun Changqing raised his eyes, looked at Ji Wulu, and said, "Brother Ji, could you please contact the inspector? They should be aware of the situation on the other side of the grey mist sea." Ji Wulu nodded and immediately contacted the visitor. And at this moment, the Forbidden Organization. In the top secret palace, many elders looked equally shocked at this moment. The 9 Dharmas spread throughout the world, covering all living beings, including them, and got it? The 9 laws, such powerful 9 laws, are shocking. Hui's face was full of solemnity and he subconsciously said, "This is the most profound and perfect method I have ever seen. If we hadn't already embarked on the grey fog path, I would have wanted to go back and practice these 9 methods." Huiyan and others also murmured. It is indeed too powerful, such a method has spread throughout the world. If all the creatures in the true ancestor realm succeed in practicing, then the grey mist sea, can they still come here? When the time comes, when the whole world is on the road, I'm afraid it will be grey mist sea's turn to worry. They are all worried. 9 methods can be called a sharp blade. Once the true ancestor realm has obtained this sharp blade, it will be enough to threaten the grey mist sea. Why can the 9 laws still appear in the world? Haven't the adults in the grey fog sea already gone to break the situation? At the same time, they were very confused. Even they don't know what happened over there. Everyone in the grey mist sea is dead. At this time, a sinister sound had already sounded. Everyone looked back and saw that it was Du Lao. He appeared, his face so gloomy that you could almost squeeze out water, and his eyes filled with hatred. 10 chess overlords from the grey mist sea passed through, and as a result, they all died, not a single one was left. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was shocked. Top 10 overlords. All dead. This. They looked at each other and were speechless for a moment. In the main hall, the deathly air passed for a long time. How is this possible, Overlord? Over there in the grey mist sea, this is the name for invincibility. The end of 10,000 paths. Is it actually so strong? We have completely underestimated this world. Their words were all trembling. The visitors are one of the largest organizations in the grey mist sea, and they have the support of the grey mist sea, so they have always been very confident. Now I discovered that the water in this world is actually so deep. To save the elderly, what should I do? Now that the grey mist sea has failed, the 9 Dharma has spread throughout the world. They all looked at Du Lao. Du Lao said coldly, I have passed all the 9 methods that appeared in this world to the Grey Mist Sea. There, we will definitely find a way to crack it. His voice had a hint of hoarse roar. Everyone also nodded. Now, they can only rely on the sea of grey fog. At this time, Hui suddenly said. Those idiots from the Temple of Sacrifice asked me what happened at the Mountain of Sacrifice. Du Lao, how do you reply? Du Lao said coldly. Just fool them, those people don't matter anymore. After saying that, he turned and left. Hui heard this and thought for a moment. Well, I used Wu Jianghe to fool me, that's it. He immediately sent a message and replied to the sacrifice temple. In the Temple of Sacrifice. There's news. Ji Wolo spoke immediately, with a flash of shock in his eyes, and said. How can this be? Suddenly, everyone looked at him. What happened? Brother Ji, tell me quickly, what happened? All eager. Ji Wolo murmured a little absent-mindedly and said. Wu Jianghe, he controlled the chess game at 10,000 Dao end. 10 overlords came over from the Grey Mist Sea, and he killed them all by himself. This man is already invincible, he is completely invincible. Hearing this, Ning Tianji, Wu Jiandao and other ultimates were all stunned. Wu Jianghe, so strong? The eldest grandson, Chang Qing, was thoughtful. The news he received was that the 10 overlords died at the hands of unspeakable beings. Wu Jianghe has actually reached an unspeakable level? Really, invincible. Sleep. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 947. In the Temple of Sacrifice, it was as quiet as death. They were all a little dull. After a long time. Wu Jianghe is actually so scary. Ning Tian was in a daze and said. Is this enough to kill the overlord level indiscriminately? The end of the world. He actually got the inheritance of the end of 10,000 paths. Wu Jiandao couldn't sit still anymore and said. It's over, I tricked him back then, and now he's so strong, he can kill me with just a raise of his hand. As the ancestor of Wu Chi Dao, he was panicked at this moment, really panicked. Brother Ji, what should we do now? What should we do? They all looked at Ji Wolo. Ji Wolo's forehead was also sweating at this moment. However, he still remained calm and said. Don't panic yet, don't get yourself into trouble. He took a deep breath and said. Wu Jianghe should not be that strong yet. The reason why he was able to kill the overlord was probably because of the end of 10,000 paths. After all, he just grew up to be the ultimate one not long ago. How could he have attained the 4 views of Dao so quickly and even be on par with the overlord? After hearing his analysis, everyone couldn't help but nodded, and now they were a little more stable. Otherwise, they really can't sit still. I guess Wu Jianghe must rely on the chess game of Wandao ending to be so invincible, so, as long as we don't go to Tianjian continent, we will be safe. Ji Wolo spoke. Everyone also nodded. We must not go to Tianjian continent. Walking around the Wujiang River from now on. They all spoke one after another, completely shocked. Next to him, Chang Qing looked a little complicated. A few days ago, when the demon desolation incident happened, there was still a discussion in the Temple of the Sacrifice about whether they should take a collective action to kill Wu Jianghe. Now, it has become that he has to go around Wujiang River. The wind direction changes, really fast. However, this is not a long-term solution. Zhang Shanju opened his mouth and said. If this continues, it won't take long before the ultimate masters of the 9 arts will jump out one after another. At that time, Once the ultimate sacrifice is made, where will we go? Ning Tianji also said in a deep voice. The 9 laws belong to us, how can we let those ants in the world get their hands on it? When they grow up, we have become ordinary living beings. As the ultimate beings, residing high in the temple of sacrifice, they have long been accustomed to their high status. Just like an emperor, he is used to enjoying glory, wealth, and totalitarianism in the world. How can he be willing to become a member of all living beings? They will try every means to defend their position. This is only the second thing. Ji Wulu said in a deep voice. Everything in the world is still fine. Everyone, don't think about it. Over the years, our world sacrifice temple has monopolized the 9 arts. Don't the people in the world hate us? Once they grow up, maybe they will liquidate us. What we will face then is not just Wu Jianghe. Everyone became even more silent. The mud-legged people and ants all over the world, with the 9 methods, can indeed threaten them completely. Brother Ji, what do you mean? Wu Jiandao looked at him. Ji Wulu said word by word. 2 things are urgent. The first thing is that the 9 ancient immortal clans must take action immediately. Anyone who is found to have practiced the new 9 methods to the 7th level or above will be killed without mercy. In this way, the speed of people's cultivation can be temporarily controlled. The second thing is that the heavenly abyss is enough for the ultimate to pass through. Immediately invite the grey mist sea to come over. Only by taking refuge in the grey mist sea can we maintain our position. Many ultimates couldn't help but nod their heads at this moment. However, Changsun Changqing suddenly spoke and said, I think there is one more important thing to do. Hearing this, everyone looked at him. Ji Wulu said. Oh? What's the matter? Changsun Changqing said word by word. Catch the mole among us. Catch the mole. As soon as this statement came out, everyone was shocked. Before, although everyone had doubts about each other and even had temptations, they were always in the dark. No one mentioned it publicly. Because there is no evidence, but once mentioned, it will arouse the vigilance of the insider. Now, Changsun Changqing actually takes the initiative to speak. Could it be that he has found the mole? Ji Wulu also had a flash of suspicion in his eyes and said. Changsun, have you found the traitor among us? Who is it? Changsun Changqing looked at Ji Wulu and said word by word. You are the mole. Ji Wulu. As soon as this statement came out, everyone was shocked. Ji Wulu is a traitor? Ji Wulu suddenly became furious, stood up and said solemnly. Changsun Changqing, don't be slanderous. Zhang Shanjin and others also hesitated and said. Changsun, what evidence do you have? Changsun Changqing said. Of course. In the previous war in the demonic wilderness, the disciples sent by our various clans, all died, but 3 of your Ji family returned safe and sound, right? He questioned. Ji Wulu choked suddenly, his face turned livid, and he said. What does this prove? Changsun Changqing said coldly. It really doesn't prove anything. But Ji Wulu, the traitor of your Ji family, secretly built a dojo for you. What's going on here? As soon as these words came out, everyone was staring at Ji Wulu. Their dojos have all been destroyed by the 3 rebellions of the 9 tribes. However, Ji Wuden, one of the 3 villains of the 9 tribes, is actually secretly building a dojo for Ji Wulu. What does that mean? This means that Ji Wulu wants to secretly assassinate Chen Kang and use his blood to rush through the sea of fog alone. This means that Ji Wuden is the reverse spy arranged by Ji Wulu. You're talking nonsense. Ji Wulu was about to explode with anger and said. That traitor Ji Wuden, I wish I could eat his flesh and sleep on his skin. How could he build a dojo for me? Changsun Changqing, don't shout about catching the thief, I think you are the real mole. Changsun Changqing's face was so indifferent, and he said. Everyone, Ji Wulu's presence will be built in Yinhuang. At the beginning, all the creatures in Yinhuang were not killed at all. It was Ji Wulu who tried to hide it from the sky. You will find out if it is true or false. When the ultimate masters of the world's sacrifice temple had just obtained the method of blood rushing into the sea of mist, they tested it in sound waste. At that time, everyone thought that Yin Huang was completely dead. After hearing this, Zhang Shanju, Wu Jindao and others immediately contacted the family. Let the family send someone to verify the matter immediately. Nonsense, nonsense. Ji Wulu was very disdainful and said, Changsun Changqing, I had doubts about Wu Jiandao before, but now it seems that you, the wolf, can't help but jump out. I am sure that you are the real undercover. Old Ning, kill him. He spoke to Ning Tianji. However, Ning Tianji looked very ugly and said, Okay, I'll kill the undercover agent. After saying that, he suddenly raised his hand and struck Ji Wulu on the chest with a palm. Bang! Ji Wulu was sent flying and hit the bronze pillar of the giant bronze palace. Puff! He spurted out a mouthful of blood, and his eyes were filled with shock, and he said, Ning Tianji, are you also an undercover agent? Wu Jiandao, the country is at an end, quickly, kill them both. However, Wu Jiandao and Zhang Shanju were also staring at him, with murderous intent bursting out of their eyes. You stupid mole Ji Wulu, it turns out that you really established a dojo in Yinhuang. I'll kill you. The country is gnashing its teeth. You still dare to doubt me, you ghost, you must die. Wu Qiandao took action directly. They rushed towards Ji Wulu. Ji Wulu's expression changed drastically. What the hell is going on? In this giant bronze palace, everyone except myself is an undercover agent, right? However, he didn't have time to think so much, so he turned around and ran away. If you don't run away, you will definitely die. Wu Jiandao and others chased and killed him all the way. The sky trembled and the avenue collapsed. This directly attracted the attention of the world. What happened? Did the ultimate battle happen? It's the ultimates in the temple of sacrifice who are taking action. The world was shocked. However, the battle ended quickly, and Ji Wulu paid an extremely heavy price and escaped. Ji Wulu betrayed the temple of sacrifice to the world. From now on, everyone will be able to kill him. It's Ning Tianji's voice. The 3 treasons of the 9 tribes have become the 4 treasons of the 9 tribes from today on. Ji Wulu, this beast, is in the same group as Ji Wuden and the others. Other ultimates also spoke. Hearing this, the entire true ancestor realm was shocked. What's going on? Ji Wulu, why was his reputation suddenly ruined? And at this moment, outside the sound wilderness, somewhere in the void, your ancestor played this skill too well. Ji Wuden couldn't help but spoke with a complicated expression, gave a thumbs up and said, Sharp. Chang Sunbumi was excited and said, It seems that now my ancestor, most likely, can take the lead in the temple of sacrifice to the world. From now on, the temple of sacrifice to the world will definitely be led into a ditch by him. Let's go have a drink. He was so happy. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 948. The Temple of Sacrifice to the World. I actually let this traitor escape. Wu Jiandao and others were still filled with hatred. This old boy is so shady. It's a pity that I have always believed in him. It's all up to brother Chang Sun, otherwise, he would have been taken to the ditch. Ning Tianji also had lingering fears, and at the same time he looked at Chang Sun Changqing and said, Thank you. When Chang Sun Changqing heard this, he almost stopped tensing, but he still took a deep breath, remained calm, and said with a sad look, Hey, did I do something wrong? Brother Ji Wulu, maybe he can still be saved. I should talk to him privately. If he is willing to change his ways, we won't have to take action against him. Zhang Shanjing couldn't help but said, Chang Sun, I'm not talking about you, but you are just too kind to me. This beast Ji Wulu is ready to plot against us. Are you still thinking about him? He deserves to die. Chang Sun Changqing nodded and said. Brother Zhang taught you that Changqing is confused. Zhang Shanjin asked, Brother Zhang Sun, what should we do now? The 9 dharmas have spread throughout the world. If we don't take action, I'm afraid it will become a big problem. Everyone also looked at Chang Sun Changqing. Wait. Chang Sun Changqing said, we can only wait. His eyes were burning and he said. Ji Wulu is not dead. He must have a grudge and will look for opportunities to retaliate. Moreover, he will join forces with Ji Wuden, Wu Jianghe, and others. If we go out rashly, we may be killed by them. Hearing this, everyone's expressions also turned pale. Ji Wulu is not scary, but Wu Jianghe, that is simply his father. Who dares to go out? With such a big thing happening, there will definitely be some action on the other side of the Grey Mist Sea. We'll just wait for the Grey Mist Sea to come over. Chang Sun Changqing spoke calmly. Hearing this, everyone nodded. Now, this seems to be their only way. And Zhang Shanjin was thinking about it and said. However, what the trader Ji Wulu said just now makes sense. During this period, we can let the major families suppress the cultivators in the world to prevent them from growing too fast, so as not to threaten us. Chang Sun Changqing glanced at the country and said meaningfully. Brother Zhang, you are right, just do this. Soon, everyone dispersed. Chang Sun Changqing returned to his retreat. Today, he felt an unprecedented relaxation. Ji Wulu's reputation has been ruined, it's time to come to light. He took out the fine wine that he had collected for many years and started singing and drinking. While drinking the wine, he didn't know what he thought of, and suddenly spilled a pot of wine on the ground. Perhaps because he drank too much, his eyes were actually a little red. Lao Yang, Lao Zhang, my eldest grandson has endured humiliation for many years. Today, I finally avenged you. He thought of Yang Daomei and Zhang Yun's hung back then. At the beginning, the person who actually agreed to sacrifice together was his eldest grandson Changqing. As a result, before he set off, Ji Wulu led a shocking change. Kill Wu Jianghe and others. At that time, he was in the temple of sacrifice, watching his friend fall into danger, but unable to take action. Because if he takes action, not only will he not be able to save him, but he himself will also die. After all these years, he has never forgotten it. He told himself to be patient. Endure. Numb your heart, hide your ambitions, go along with them, blend into them. Until today. After years of hard work, this day finally came. Don't worry, I will make all the dark clouds hanging over the true ancestor realm disperse. I will return the ancestral world to a blue sky. Chang Sun Changqing's eyes were red with deep ferocity and determination. At this moment, he, who had always been full of scholarly aura, was like a dormant and terrifying giant beast, which was terrifying. I will mourn everyone in the ultimate temple. You can go ahead with peace of mind. After saying that, he stood up. He sent a secret message. Zhongshan is trying to stop people from practicing the 9 Dharma, kill all the Zhang family. His eyes were full of boundless coldness. In the true ancestor realm, the 9 ancient immortal clans, as well as the Genji Pavilion, etc., join hands to speak out today. The new 9 methods are demonic methods, and those who practice them will die. For the sake of the peace and prosperity of the true ancestor realm, no one is allowed to practice the new 9 methods. Once discovered, everyone in the world will be punished. Their words spread across all continents. However, it instantly caused dissatisfaction among the world. What kind of demonic method? The new 9 methods are obviously the method for the whole world to survive. This is slander. The new 9 methods can allow us all to successfully go on the road. It's nonsense. The 9 ancient immortal clans are just for their own selfishness. Are you afraid that the world will grow up? Many powerful people have spoken out and are extremely dissatisfied with this. The 9 ancient clans have been suffering in the world for a long time. Now that they have finally broken the monopoly of the 9 laws, they are actually trying to prevent the world from practicing. This is unacceptable. Whoever dares to practice is our enemy. On this day, the Zhang family of the 9 ancient immortal clans spoke out forcefully and told the world. Zhangzhou Sanchen sect, who practices the 9 dharmas secretly, should be punished. Sanchen sect is a medium-sized sect in Zhangzhou. Today, the Zhang family has made a war cry to completely annihilate the Sanchen section. This is to scare the monkeys and scare the world. Many people in the world are trembling and angry. The 9 ancient immortal clans are extremely selfish. Is this kind of cruel rule trying to subdue the people of the world with force? Perhaps we should practice in seclusion and not show up again, otherwise we will really die. In addition to being angry, many people feel helpless and depressed. Under the rule of the 9 immortal ancient clans, ordinary people really have no way out. But, soon, a piece of news came. Sanchen sect is safe and sound. 3 people who opened the door to the Zhang family died. Ji Wuden and the eldest grandson Bumi of the Ji family heard that Ji Wula was also wanted. The 3 of them became the guardians of the new 9 laws and killed the Zhang family's army until every piece of armor was left behind, leaving corpses everywhere. Now, the Zhang family has been forced to stay behind closed doors, and the ancestral formation has been fully activated, and the family is almost in danger of being wiped out. As soon as the news came out, the whole world was shocked. What? This is the result. That's great, with them as guardians, unless the ultimate temple is born, who would dare to stop us? Now it seems that the 3 rebels of the 9 tribes are the real heroes, and Ji Wulu is also a hero. The world cheered. At the same time, the 9 ancient immortal clans also immediately fell silent. Because the Zhang family's fate scared them. Unless the ultimates in the ultimate temple come out, they will have nothing to do when facing ultimates like Ji Wuden, Wu Jianghe, and Ji Wulu. Even the notorious Wu Jianghe. The plan to kill the cultivators of the 9 laws was, in essence, completely bankrupt. At the same time, some gossip leaked out. The 9 ancient immortal clans colluded with the Grey Mist Sea and once led the 10 overlords into Tianjiang continent in an attempt to destroy the backup force left by 10,000 Wei's End. However, they were all wiped out by the ultimate Shura Wu Jianghe in one battle. As soon as the news came out, it spread throughout the ancestor realm as if there was a pusher behind it. What? The 9 ancient immortal clans are actually so disgusting. Traitor, traitor. The ultimate Shura is invincible, Wu Jianghe, our faith, the guardian of justice. Many people admired Wu Jianghe so much that some even got so excited that they built a dojo to worship Wu Jianghe. Today, the famous names of the 9 tribes, 3 NIS and Ji Wulu are spread among the people of the world. Somewhere. What the hell? What kind of protector have I become? Damn it! In a secret cave, Ji Wulu was dying and seriously injured. When he heard the news, he doubted his life. He felt as if he was being played by some big hand. The other side. Comfortable. Changsun Bumi and Ji Wuden drank so much that they felt so happy. For so many years, I have been hunted by the 9 major families, and today I finally got my revenge. Ji Wuden also smiled. The 2 of them worked together to kill the 3 main openers of the Zhang family, and blocked the Zhang family so much that they did not dare to go out. But, how did Lao Wu's reputation spread so outrageously? At the same time, Changsun Bumi was a little puzzled. They were those who had experienced it, and they knew very well that what happened this time had nothing to do with Lao Wuhan. As a result, it was actually rumored that Lao Wu destroyed the top 10 overlords. Outrageous, too outrageous. Ji Wuden said doubtfully. I have some doubts, old Wu Te mother, are those past deeds true or false? Isn't he taking the blame? The two looked at each other. No matter what, now the 9 ancient immortal clans no longer dare to mess around. Let's quickly find a place to retreat, get on the road as soon as possible, and then finally sacrifice to the world. Chang Sunbumi spoke expectantly. At the same time, there is a secret place somewhere in the true ancestor realm. I am so cruel. Wu Jianghe was immediately shocked. I was so scared that I broke out in cold sweat. Who did he provoke? This special girl's scapegoat gets bigger every time. Even the overlord level was killed? No, I have to go into seclusion, immediately, or else I will have such a cruel reputation. He is also practicing in seclusion. And at this moment, Qing Chen and his party finally arrived at Wuhuang realm. Go back to the village and have a feast. They were very happy. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 949. On the other side of the abyss, there is a sea of grey fog. Countless scarlet eyes are waiting on this side of Tianyuan. There are tens of millions of troops on the Tianyuan border. All the tribes in the Grey Mist Sea have sent out their troops and are waiting. As long as the backhand of Wandao ending is removed, they can march straight in and slaughter the entire true ancestor realm. Boom. At this moment, in the abyss, the light bridge connecting the two worlds emitted a powerful aura, solidifying to an unprecedented degree. On the light bridge, there are even countless avenue steps emerging. These, among the 10-2 villains, are there any more human bones filling the abyss? The lines of the avenue have emerged. The current bridge is enough to allow the opener and even the ultimate to pass through, right? Great, we should kill him. The strongest in that realm is the ultimate. He will kill all the creatures in that realm within a day. Many powerful beings spoke one after another at this moment. They couldn't wait to kill him immediately. In fact, many powerful tribes are already in commotion, and their armies are moving forward. But, right now, a terrifying and vast voice came from the depths of the grey fog sea. The Tianyuan army has all turned to defense. No one is allowed to cross the Tianyuan. This is an order issued by an overlord. Hearing this, the tens of millions of troops in front of Tianyuan immediately went into an uproar. What? Turning defensive? Why can't we cross the Tianyuan? What's going on? Do the overlords think that our Grey Mist Sea is even at risk of being invaded by that realm? How is this possible? Everyone was surprised and confused. Please overlords, please clarify, what is going on? I'm eager to break through that realm. Among the thousands of troops, there are those who have seen saints and gods and opened their mouths. Those who see saints and those who see God, the last two of the four views are strong, they can be called great masters. In the depths of the Grey Mist Sea, there was silence for a moment, and the overlord finally said slowly. The top 10 overlords of chess fell in the true ancestor realm. Just this word. In an instant, the three armies were silent. The powerful men of all races in front of Tianyuan were all shocked. What, the top 10 chess masters, are all dead? How is this possible? Didn't they go there to crack the backup plan of 10,000 ways end? Why did I die instead? Can the backhand left behind by Wandao ending slaughter overlord level creatures? 10 of them died directly. The tens of millions of troops were all shocked. This is definitely shocking news. Even 10 overlords have fallen. Even if there are tens of millions of troops, who would dare to cross the border? If someone below the overlord goes there, he will probably die. Turn to defense, turn to defense immediately. There is unimaginable power over there in the true ancestor realm, don't act rashly. Stop, wait. Suddenly, the leading strong men also panicked. They have been looking forward to it, hoping that the bridge in the abyss will solidify quickly so that they can go to the massacre. But now, the bridge can finally accommodate the Pathfinder class, but they find that, the Grey Mist Sea may not be able to suppress that realm. At the same time, deep in the Grey Fog Sea, there is a towering grey mountain. Xuanhuan Ancestral Mountain is one of the highest holy places in the Grey Mist Sea. The secret palace of time and space is on this high mountain. Today, many Overlord-level creatures gathered in the secret palace of time and space. In the main hall, the atmosphere was extremely heavy. All the Overlord-level creatures looked extremely ugly. The top 10 chess overlords left hand in hand, but in the end, they all fell. An overlord spoke and said in a deep voice. Since the era of great turmoil, there has never been a death of overlord-level creatures in the Grey Mist Sea, and now, 10 of them have died. Other overlords also spoke one after another. What a shame. What is left at the end of 10,000 paths? None of the 10 overlords can break her game. Is she really that powerful? When everyone spoke, their expressions were more solemn than ever before. They are all overlords who grew up in the Golden World. They have always been extremely proud, aloof, and looking down on all living beings. The so-called end of 10,000 paths, the so-called 10 deities and 2 evils, they didn't even take it seriously before. After all, they can become overlords, and their cultivation has surpassed the previous 10. But now they feel it deeply. What do the 4 words "end of the road" mean? Can kill the overlord. I have contacted the forbidden visitors, but now no one even knows what happened in the true ancestor realm. Liu Ba, the overlord of the 3-winged fierce deer tribe, spoke. The only thing that can be confirmed now is that the big black dog among the 10 spirits, as well as Xuanhuan, are still alive. Last time, many immortals tried to hunt down the big black dog, but they all died. This time, the 10 overlords joined forces to deal with the living Xuanhuan, but he also died. Grey Mist Sea only knows so much about the true ancestor realm. In addition, over in the true ancestor realm, the 9 Dharma created by that woman has been spread throughout the world again. These are the 9 Dharma. As he spoke, he waved his hand, and runes appeared instantly. Many overlords in the field immediately stared intently. These 9 techniques are so powerful. It's so scary. Anyone can learn these 9 methods and understand them. Moreover, with this method, I feel that even an ordinary cultivator can grow to an incredible height. How on earth did she create such a method? All the overlords were shocked. They were all extremely extraordinary and had seen countless spells, but these 9 spells frightened them. This is a naked conspiracy, a complete conspiracy. An overlord spoke in a cold voice and said, "We can't crack her 9 methods at all. Even if we get the 9 methods, we can only watch the true ancestor realm making rapid progress, but there is nothing we can do." Everyone's expressions were very ugly. Is this the work of Wandao ending? There is no need to hide the 9 laws spread throughout the world. Because she is not afraid of the enemy cracking it at all. It's clear that the true ancestor realm is going to follow the path of the 9 laws, and even the Sea of Grey Fog has nothing to do. How confident and domineering this is. I have already informed the leader of the alliance about the relevant information. I hope he will return soon. Liu Ba slowly spoke. The Grey Mist Sea is vast and endless, but as a whole, it is divided into 4 sea areas. What they were in was the Southern Mist Sea. Among the many overlords in the Southern Mist Sea, there are also some who are the most powerful and are respected as common leaders. However, the leader of the Southern Mist Sea was summoned by the true ancestor some time ago and has left the secret palace of time and space and gone to a mysterious place. The master of time and space palace has arrived. At this time, suddenly a loud shout rang out from outside the secret palace of time and space. Suddenly, all the overlords in the hall couldn't help but look stern and stood up immediately. The leader is back. Very good. Everyone was very surprised and stood up immediately. Outside the Xuanhuan ancestral mountain, there is already a terrifying avenue, tearing through the void. The grey ladder descended, and a powerful being walked down the ladder step by step. He had a bronze mask on his face and a light golden robe. He came with his hands behind his back and arrived in front of the secret palace of time and space in one step. Meet the palace master. Meet the palace master. Immediately, Liu Ba and other overlords all saluted. The person in front of me is the master of the secret palace of time and space, and the co-respected leader of the southern Mist Sea. After completing the 4 meetings, you can be called the overlord and dominate the area. But overlords are also divided into strong and weak. The master of time and space palace is one of the most powerful among the overlords. It is said that he has entered the eyes of the true ancestor and has been summoned by the true ancestor level before. The master of time and space palace glanced at everyone in the arena calmly and said, "We have only been away for a few days, but Nanwuhe has already become a laughing stock in the entire Grey Mist Sea." There was strong dissatisfaction in his words. Hearing this, Liu Ba and other overlords all looked ugly. Master of the Qi Report Hall, Wandao endpoint is really too strong. Even the top 10 chess masters can't break her back. They spoke in low voices, trying to excuse themselves. Now you know she is strong. The Lord of Time and Space Palace said coldly. How many times have I told you that you must be extremely careful with everything you do about the 10 two evils and that woman? They have causes and effects that you can't even imagine. What's the result? You actually tried to crack her back. Who gave you the courage? If it weren't for your arrogance, the top 10 overlords in chess would not die. His words were strong. For a moment, Liu Ba and other overlords all looked very ugly, lowered their heads, and did not dare to refute at all. Do you know why the true ancestors asked me to go this time? The Lord of Time and Space Palace then spoke. Everyone shook their heads in confusion. It's because the true ancestors discovered a backup plan left outside the Forbidden Land at the end of 10,000 paths. Even the true ancestors working together can't crack it. 2 of them have been seriously injured and almost died. The words of the Master of Time and Space Palace were extremely heavy. As soon as these words came out, many overlords were even more horrified. True ancestor, almost died? This happened? This is too scary. That woman, is really so scary. Even the true ancestor is like this. We actually, want to break her formation. Everyone was shocked, and at the same time, they all felt scared. Their previous actions, looking back now, are completely playing with fire and burning themselves. Looking at it this way, wouldn't it be that we have no way to deal with the true ancestor realm? Liu Ba looked ugly. After all, even the true ancestor can't bear it. That's not the case. The Lord of Time and Space Palace said calmly. The 9 methods left behind at the end of 10,000 paths have alarmed the true supreme existence, making it impossible for those existences to just sit back and watch, so they have made arrangements. This time when I come back, I am ordered to come and destroy the true ancestor realm. Hearing this, everyone looked at him with concern. Supreme Being. It can be described in these 4 words. They all know what it means. This kind of character can definitely suppress everything. The Master of Time and Space Palace then slowly took out 3 things. That is, a black and white pen, a scroll, a jade vase, in which is a milky white poisonous insect. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Goexin. Chapter 950. A pen, a scroll, a milky white worm. Seeing these three things, many overlords had doubts on their faces. This pen is called the Destiny Pen. The master of time and space palace picked up the pen and introduced it calmly, saying, "It is said that in the taboo place, there is a mythical pen called the Goexin pen. That pen can write the destiny of everyone. Even the most supreme taboo existence is like an ant under that pen. Whoever the pen wants to die will die, and whoever the pen wants to live will live." The destiny brush was originally one of the 10 deities, the destiny brush. After his death, the destiny brush was acquired by the Supreme Being, who imitated the terrifying Goexin brush and changed it into the destiny brush. Although the destiny pen is not as terrifying as the pen in the Forbidden Land, below the true ancestor, whoever writes will die, and whoever writes lives will live. After hearing this, many overlords' expressions changed drastically. This pen is so terrifying? From the true ancestor on down, write who died. This is invincible. The Lord of Time and Space Palace then picked up the scroll and introduced. This scroll is called the Painted Scroll. It was originally the scroll of the Painted Lord among the 10, the power of this scroll is unimaginable. All creatures reflected by this scroll will enter the world of the painting and be wiped out by the power of the Pale. Even attacks will be swallowed by this scroll. Everyone was breathing rapidly. This insect is called the source-devouring poisonous insect. As long as it tastes a certain source, it can find the owner of that source and bite and poison it to death. The most peculiar thing is that this insect can evolve into billions of clones. As long as the origin of a certain race is tasted by it, it can transform into millions and poison the entire race in a short period of time. Similarly, anyone below the true ancestor level must be killed. Must kill? At this moment, everyone in the secret palace of time and space was shocked. These three things brought by the Lord of Time and Space. It can be called a supreme killer. Even if they, the overlords in the secret palace of time and space, meet. There is only one way to die. With these three treasures, you can kill all the creatures in the true ancestor realm. The master of time and space palace spoke calmly and said, "If all the creatures in the true ancestor pen are dead, so what if Xuanhuan's backhand is strong and difficult to crack? Her 9 methods, after all, can only be realized by taking a road trip all over the world. If everyone is dead, what road can she take?" There was a sarcastic look on the corner of his mouth. Everyone nodded. To report to the Lord of the Palace, I suddenly remembered something. At this time, Liu Bie then spoke and said, "Before, the Genchi Pavilion of the True Ancestor Realm contacted us. They collected the origin factors of the creatures in the True Ancestor Realm. If you get those original factors and feed them to the poisonous insects, then with just this poisonous insect, it seems very easy to destroy the entire True Ancestor Realm, and you will be able to accomplish your feat in one battle. Then a few strong men will go over with pale scrolls and destiny pens, and kill those strong men who were not killed by the poisonous insects. That's it?" Upon hearing this, the master of time and space palace nodded and said, "Very good, contact the Genchi Pavilion immediately and ask them to prepare things." After pondering for a moment, he continued, "I will set off immediately and go to the true ancestor realm myself." Hearing this, many overlords looked shocked. The Lord of Time and Space Palace actually wants to come in person. In addition, contact the forbidden agents over there and ask them to find a way to open a gap in the Great Wall of Bones to allow me to enter. The Lord of Time and Space Palace continued to speak. Xuanhuan is now passable, but he is still wary of the Great Wall of Bones left behind at the end of the 10,000 paths. "As you command." Liu Bie and others spoke. True Ancestor Realm. Genchi Pavilion, in the secret hall. The end of 10,000 paths is actually just a mortal body. An old man whispered, his eyes full of disappointment, and said, I have found all the original factors in the world, but I can't make her reappear. This old man is one of the 4 masters of Genchi Pavilion, Ling Qishan. Another old woman spoke up and said, "We can't wait any longer. The Yuandao plan itself is just a big dream. Now it's time to wake up from the dream. We should accept the reality. Wandao will die at the end of the world. With only the backhand she left behind, no one can stop it. A catastrophe. Her name is Jin Baifeng, and she is also one of the pavilion masters." When Ling Qishan heard this, he hesitated and said, "Now that the 9 Dharma has been spread throughout the world, it won't be long before it may be able to be used all over the world." Jin Baifeng said, "You're confused, so what if you take the world on the road? After taking the world on the road, it will cause a taboo change. If Wandao Dingman is still alive, of course she is invincible, but if she dies, the taboo change will only be a disaster. Their Genchi Pavilion was once related to the one at the end of 10,000 paths in the pre-White Mist era, so they knew many secrets. Once the 9 techniques at the end of 10,000 paths are successful, it will cause great changes in the Forbidden Land on the other side of the Grey Mist Sea. However, the true ancestor realm cannot bear the changes in the forbidden area even if the whole world goes out. Unless the end of the road reappears. They have already predicted the outcome. What Baifeng said makes sense." At this time, another old man also spoke slowly. He was the chief master of the Genchi Pavilion, Han Ruwei. "We have to survive. The Grey Mist Sea is our only hope. Once we reach a certain stage, not only our true ancestor realm, but also other white mist worlds in the Grey Mist Sea can only make the same choice. Either embrace the grey fog completely, or die in the dream of white fog. No choice. It just so happens that the people over at the Grey Mist Sea have contacted me and asked us to prepare the source factors. Over there are real big shots coming." Jin Baifeng spoke excitedly. "Very good, let's start taking action and first integrate many of the original factors into one furnace." Han Ruwei spoke. The origin factors they collected were too numerous and vast. They must be smelted together in the great furnace fire. However, smelting the origin requires a living furnace. Ling Qishan hesitated. The living furnace cauldron, as the name suggests, will inject a massive amount of original factors into the human body, and then turn on the great furnace fire to burn in the cauldron. In the end, the original factors are smelted into one, but the living people will also die completely. This is not cruel. Haha, isn't you Ling Xue back? A vicious look flashed in Jin Baifeng's eyes, and he said, "Let her be the cauldron." Ling Qishan said, "Isn't this too?" Before he finished speaking, Han Ruwei said, "So be it." Soon. In Genchi Pavilion, the door of the Yu family was forcibly broken open. "No. How could you do this? Ling Xue is a descendant of the 4th Pavilion Master. Why do you want her to be the cauldron?" The entire Yu family resisted fiercely. However, it can't be stopped at all. Yu Ling Xue was captured and taken into a secret place. She was tied up and locked in a huge alchemy furnace. "Yu Ling Xue, do you know how your ancestor died?" Outside the furnace, Jin Baifeng looked cold and said with a smile. "He went crazy and actually wanted to go to the world with Yang Daomei and Zhang Yun's Hung. We had no choice but to kill him. Now that you have died, you can reunite with him without having to thank us." She revealed a top secret. There have been rumors that the 4 masters of the Genchi Pavilion have disappeared. In the alchemy furnace, Yu Ling Xue, whose cultivation level was sealed, suddenly burst out with strong hatred in her eyes. "Turn out to be. That's it? Traitor." She gritted her teeth and cursed. "Haha, scold me hard before you die, then you will wail." Jin Baifeng sneered. Next to him, Ling Qishan had a look of unbearable expression on his face, but said nothing. Han Ruwei said calmly, Ling Xiu, don't blame us for being cruel. The contribution you have made to the pavilion is enough to offset the sins of your ancestors. We will remember you. After speaking, he waved his hand. Suddenly, in the secret place, countless original factors poured into the alchemy furnace like the tide of the sea. At the same time, the three major pavilion masters ignited the fire of the avenue. The fire is burning. In the alchemy furnace, Yu Lingxiu's eyes were filled with despair. She could already feel that those original factors were all filling up in her body. And the fire on the avenue has already been paved. I am about to become a furnace and about to die. But, at this moment, it was on her body. Suddenly a rune lit up. As soon as the rune lit up, she subconsciously let out a moan of relief. Because this rune actually dominated the fire of the avenue, so that the fire of the avenue could not hurt her at all. At the same time, she felt that countless original factors turned into trickles and became part of her origin. Her origin is actually evolving. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 951. Small Village. In the early morning, Li Fan woke up sleepily. The coldness of winter made him miss the quilt more. Xiaobai leaned obediently in his arms, sleeping soundly, with his cute little paws on his hands. He couldn't help but touch Xiaobai, gently put Xiaobai's head on the pillow, then got up, put on his clothes, opened the door, and walked out. The disciples were all sitting around doing their own things. Long Xuanhuan got up early in the morning to watch fish, Dugu Yuking was studying ink, and Xiling was still painting. But, on the other side, Wu Dade screamed. Ah! He covered his butt and ran away. And behind him, a big white goose was chasing him everywhere. The big white goose was also taken out by Li Fan from the system. He originally asked Dade to learn the skill of raising geese, but as a result, the goose was very ferocious. It chased Dade and pecked it every day, and even the big black dog didn't dare to touch it. It was like a tyrant. Dead dog, help! Wu Dade hurried to the big black dog. As a result, the big black dog was still sleeping. When he saw it at this moment, he gnashed his teeth and said through the message. Human pet, you are causing trouble, I will bite you to death. It barked and bit, causing Wu Dade to jump away in a hurry. The big white goose walked in front of the big black dog and glanced at the big black dog. There seemed to be a trace of hostility in the goose's eyes. The big black dog suddenly became frightened and said, I really didn't eat those goose eggs on purpose, Auntie, it's none of my business. When the big goose heard this, he became even more angry and immediately started to peck the big black dog. Okay, sir, stop making trouble and come over for breakfast. At this time, Li Fan's voice had already sounded. After hearing this, Wu Dade felt as if he had been granted amnesty. He ignored the dogs and geese and hurried to the master's side. That was called a good boy. Gongya brought breakfast, eggs, lean meat and vegetable porridge, and soy milk. Unpretentious, simply delicious. Big Demon King, come here, I'll give you the egg yolk. Yongzi peeled the eggs, but she only liked the whites and gave the yolks to Li Fan. Li Fan smiled. Master, this goose doesn't lay eggs anyway, otherwise, you can take it back. Wu Dade spoke weakly. He was a little scared of being pecked these days. I want to take it easy for a few days. When Li Fan heard this, he said. Don't lay eggs? Didn't you raise them well? This shouldn't be the case. If it keeps failing to lay eggs, there's probably something wrong with it. However, he thought for a moment and said. You raise them for a few days. If they still don't lay eggs, we will kill them for meat and replace them with 2 goslings for you to raise. When Wu Dade heard this, he immediately wilted. He still had to take care of himself for a few more days. On the other side, The big white goose that was chasing the big black dog was shocked when he heard this. It suddenly panicked. Kill for meat? It stopped immediately, turned its head silently, and walked towards the chickens. Borrow a nest. Big white goose, his words are actually a bit humble. The old hen nodded calmly. The big white goose immediately went to roost. Trying hard to lay goose eggs. Is Xiao Li at home? Outside, Uncle Zhang's voice came. Li Fan said. Here I am. Gong Ya stepped forward and opened the courtyard door. Uncle Zhang had already walked in. He smiled and said. The New Year pig is being killed today, I'll ask the great master for help. Hearing this, Li Fan couldn't help but be happy and said. The New Year pig is being killed? This is a good thing, come on, let's go take a look too. Immediately, he took Wu Dade, Du Guyuking and others with him and Uncle Zhang. Yung Ziziling and others, Li Fan asked them to stay in the yard. Killing a pig was not an elegant thing, so they were not allowed to watch. Outside the village, Qing Chen and the others finally entered the wilderness of the dead. This old turtle, please take Miss Yu to the oath-keeping valley and give it to Xiao Kan and the others to try. Zhang Li opened his mouth, took down the body of a negative chess turtle and handed it to Yu Linglong. There are 3 negative chess turtles in total. Each one weighs dozens of kilograms. Just 2 of them are enough. Giving one to the oath-keeping valley is enough for them. After all, this is the overlord level, more terrifying than the previous 4-sided creatures. When Yu Linglong heard this, she was very excited. Overlord level ingredients, I'll give it to you. She couldn't help but feel lucky, she held her thighs firmly and took off immediately. Linglong understands. She took a deep breath, took the old turtle, and immediately headed towards the oath-keeping valley. Next to them, Xiao Shi, Xiao Cao, and Chi Xiao were stunned. That is a overlord level creature, and it is actually treated as a worthless thing, given away for a taste? Is that too much? What kind of village is the village of 10 lords? Qi Xuangming couldn't help but murmured. Could it be that all the overlord level creatures in that village regard them as food? This is amazing. Soon, they landed in front of a small mountain village. Seeing the small mountain village ahead, the 3 of them were extremely shocked. What kind of small mountain village is this? This is obviously a forbidden place, right? Kazu couldn't help but speak, his eyes were filled with horror. The Forbidden Avenue is crisscrossed, like a vast ocean, how could a place like this appear in the true ancestor realm? Shizu murmured. I'm afraid none of the places on the other side described in the Shidian have the quality of this place. The chess ancestor looked very excited and said. This village is clearly arranged according to the most profound chess skills. Every plant and tree has mysteries. It's so scary. Only now did he feel that the chess game at Shishi Mountain was nothing compared to the layout of this small mountain village. What kind of existence is living here? Let's go back to the village. Qing Chen opened his mouth. Wrong. Kazu suddenly spoke, very worried, and said. Well, brothers, are you going to go in like this? I'm afraid that if I go in, I will be beaten back to my original shape and turn into a dog's tail grass. Worried, he revealed the fact that he was actually a dog's tail grass. Shizu also said. The one I'm waiting for is the gray mist technique. If I enter this place, I'm afraid I'll be killed. Zhang Li smiled and said. Don't worry, it's okay. Someone else has gone in before. As long as there are no evil thoughts in your heart, that's all. The small mountain village will indeed suppress the source of the gray fog. However, if you enter with them and are not malicious, it seems that you will not be killed. Otherwise, the mentally ill people in front of you. The grass on the grave is now 3 inches high. Hearing this, Shizu and others felt relieved and followed them inside. As soon as I entered the village, I heard a fierce pig roar. The pig's cry resounded throughout the whole village. Ah! Shizu and others had just entered the village when this voice came. The expressions of the three of them suddenly changed. They felt dizzy, unable to hold on, and they all fell down. This is the roar of what kind of terrifying creature? It scares me to death, it scares me to death. Kazu's face turned blue and turned greener. Shizu was trembling, clasping his hands together and reciting the Heart Sutra, forcing himself to calm down. Qi Xuanming closed his eyes and sat down on the ground. All three of them couldn't bear it. Zhongli and others were also surprised. This was. It should be, killing the New Year pig. Qing Chen suddenly spoke. When Lu Rang heard this, his eyes lit up and he said. That's for sure. Come on, let's go see the New Year pig being killed. When Shizu and the other three heard this, they were all stunned. Killing the New Year pig? What the hell is this? In the secular world, it seems that ordinary people will kill the New Year pig during the Chinese New Year. However, what they heard was clearly the forbidden roar of a forbidden beast, which could shock people to death. They looked at each other and followed Qing Chen and others directly. Oh my God, what kind of existence is this? The grass on the roadside is probably in an unimaginable state. Cao Zia was trembling as he walked. Occasionally he saw one or two pieces of grass swaying in the wind. He immediately panicked and hurriedly saluted to the grass and said, Senior, calm down, please calm down. I didn't mean to look at you, Junior. Please forgive me. The chess ancestor became more and more frightened as he walked, and then he didn't dare to take a step at all, because he felt that everywhere in this small mountain village was a situation of life and death that he could not imagine. If he made a wrong move, he would die. Therefore, he walked very slowly and followed Zhang Li closely. Wherever Zhang Li's footprints would fall, he would just dare to leave them there. Shizu's face was ashen, the muscles all over his body were tense, he was extremely nervous, and his sweat was dripping, and he said, Look down on life and death, look down on life and death, you can't have fear, I take down life and death. He was completely using the thought of going to hell to support himself in going forward. Finally, they turned around the intersection and saw Uncle Zhang's yard. However, when they saw the scene in the yard, the three ancestors were immediately frightened.